You know that feel, maybe it creeps up in your late 30s, perhaps early 40s. Suddenly, you just feel more tired than usual. Or your cycle starts doing, well, weird things.
Hmm.
Your mood dips seemingly out of nowhere, or maybe getting a solid night's sleep feels like, I don't know, a distant dream.
Right. It's easy to brush off.
Totally. You tell yourself, oh, it's just stress, or maybe, guess I'm just getting older. But what if those subtle, kind of confusing changes aren't just stress
Right.
or general aging? What if it's something really specific and actually quite powerful?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. This phase, it's not vague, it has names: perimenopause and menopause. It's a huge, often really misunderstood midlife transition for so many women.
Absolutely.
So our mission here, looking at all this great material you've gathered, the articles, research, your notes, is to really pull out the key insights. We want to understand what's happening, why it feels the way it does, and most importantly, how you can navigate it holistically. And what really stood out to me from this material was this concept called the Life Fuel 365 reset. I love how it reframes this whole midlife thing.
It's a great perspective.
Yeah, instead of seeing it as like a decline, it presents it as this invitation, a chance to genuinely reset, refresh, and reclaim your energy, your vitality through really intentional choices.
Exactly. Nourishment and wellness.
So that's our plan. We'll use these sources as our map, understand the hormonal roller coaster, maybe uncover some hidden disruptors we didn't even know about,
Uh-huh.
and reveal some practical, natural ways to support your mind, your body, and even your environment during this, well, pretty transformative time.
And what's so vital digging into this material is just recognizing how real this transition is.
Right.
It's not just one thing. It impacts, well, multiple systems.
Yeah.
Your mind, your body, how you engage with the world.
Right. It's systemic.
It really is. And understanding the what and the why, that's the first step. It moves you from feeling maybe confused or scared into a place of, empowerment. Knowledge. So this deep dive, it's not just about listing symptoms. It's about connecting those dots.
Yeah.
Explaining the biology behind the experiences and showing why a truly holistic approach, looking at the whole system, is key. Not just, chasing quick fixes for this or that symptom.
Okay, let's start right there at the beginning. Let's unpack perimenopause. What exactly is this phase based on the information we have?
Well, the material defines it pretty clearly as the phase leading up to menopause. It's described as this hormonal bridge connecting your main reproductive years to the point of menopause.
Hormonal bridge? I like that. So it's not like falling off a cliff then.
Not at all. And a key thing it highlights is that your hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, don't just smoothly decline, they get erratic.
Erratic. Okay.
Yeah, they fluctuate significantly. Big swings up and down, kind of unpredictably. And this phase, it can actually start earlier than many people think, sometimes late 30s, early 40s. And it can last, well, anywhere from 2 to even 10 years.
10 years. Wow. Okay, that really highlights why understanding it is so crucial. So if perimenopause is the bridge, what exactly is menopause? How does the material differentiate them?
Right, that's a key distinction it clarifies. Perimenopause is that, dynamic transition phase. Fluctuating hormones, often irregular cycles. Menopause itself is the official point, marked by 1 full year, 12 consecutive months without any menstrual period.
Got it. 12 months straight.
Exactly. Once you hit that mark, your hormone levels generally stabilize, though at lower levels than before, and fertility naturally ceases. The average age for this milestone, the material notes, is around 51.
Okay.
And then after that, you're technically in postmenopause. Symptoms might still linger for some, but they often become less intense or stabilize over time.
Right. Perimenopause is the lead up, menopause is the year mark, postmenopause is after. That clarifies things. Now, you mentioned those confusing early signs, the ones women often dismiss.
Yes.
The material lists quite a few. Can we walk through some? Because hearing them listed out can be incredibly validating if you're experiencing them.
Absolutely. This material points out several early warning signs that frequently get missed or explained away. Things like irregular periods, maybe cycles get shorter or longer, heavier, lighter, just generally unpredictable.
Okay.
You might start getting hot flashes or night sweats, even if they're just occasional at first. Brain fog and memory lapses are a big one. That feeling of being mentally off, struggling to focus, maybe forgetting words.
Very common.
Mood swings, anxiety, or irritability that seem to come out of nowhere without obvious triggers. Sleep disruption, very common, like waking up at 3 a.m. wide awake, finding it hard to get back to sleep.
The classic 3 a.m. club.
Exactly. You might notice you're more sensitive, emotionally overwhelmed more easily. Then there's things like weight gain, often around the midsection specifically, changes in libido, or maybe vaginal dryness,
Yeah.
and even new or much more intense PMS symptoms than you used to have.
Okay, so if any of those are ringing bells for you listening right now,
Uh,
the clear message from this material is you are not imagining it. These are real signals.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They're prompts from your body, really, asking for attention. And the material really dives into the why behind them, tying it back to those hormones. It describes hormones as these, like, silent architects, or the body's communication network.
Communication lines. Yeah.
They control so much, right? Sleep, thought, energy, skin, mood, weight, even heart health. So when you enter perimenopause and these messengers start changing their patterns, it kicks off this powerful shift throughout your whole system. If you understand their roles, you can actually start to interpret what your body's saying.
Okay, let's get into who these key hormonal players are then. You mentioned estrogen and progesterone fluctuating wildly. Tell us more about their jobs, according to this material.
Absolutely. So first up is estrogen, often called the queen bee. It's involved in regulating your menstrual cycle, maintaining bone density, skin elasticity, impacting mood and memory, vaginal lubrication, even heart health. A lot.
The major play.
Definitely. And what's crucial in perimenopause, this material explains, isn't just the eventual decline, but those erratic fluctuations, the unpredictable spikes and then the sharp drops. That's often what triggers the intense symptoms: hot flashes, big mood swings, those irregular periods, anxiety, memory lapses, as your body scrambles to adapt.
So it's the roller coaster, the up and down, that causes the immediate chaos, not just the overall lowering yet. That's a really useful distinction. What about progesterone?
Progesterone, the calming companion. This hormone is naturally anti-anxiety. It balances estrogen, it's crucial for deep sleep, promotes relaxation, soothes the nervous system, helps keep your mood stable, and regulates your cycle.
Sounds lovely. We need that one.
We really do. And the material points out that often progesterone levels start to drop earlier than estrogen in perimenopause.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So when progesterone drops first, you can experience things like trouble sleeping, that awful wired but tired feeling, increased anxiety or irritability, and sometimes those heavier, longer, or just erratic periods. It also mentions estrogen dominance, where even if your estrogen is declining overall, if progesterone drops more, you might still have symptoms as if estrogen is too high relative to progesterone.
Okay, so the balance between them is key. We've got the fluctuating queen bee and the possibly early dropping calming companion. What about the stress hormone, cortisol? That feels like it must play a role here.
Oh, absolutely. Cortisol, the stress signal. Now, in small doses, cortisol is essential. It wakes you up, helps you respond to danger. But the material really highlights the impact of chronic stress, that low-grade ongoing stress. That keeps cortisol levels elevated.
Right, the everyday kind.
Exactly. And high cortisol is a major disruptor. It messes with sleep, encourages belly fat storage. That specific kind, it can suppress progesterone production, spike your blood sugar and insulin levels, and just contribute to burnout. And during perimenopause, your body often becomes more sensitive to stress.
You feel that, don't you? Things hit harder.
Totally. Your nervous system is just more reactive. So that high cortisol can really amplify symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, fatigue, mood swings, creates this difficult feedback loop.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, who's the last key player this material focuses on?
That would be insulin, the blood sugar balancer. Its main job is managing how your body uses glucose from food. But if your diet isn't great, or you're stressed, or there's inflammation, insulin can get out of balance. The material says this leads to things like sugar cravings, that stubborn weight gain around the middle, feeling tired after meals, energy crashes, and it increases your risk for insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. What's really significant in midlife, it notes, is that declining estrogen can actually make your cells naturally a bit less sensitive to insulin.
Oh, wow. Even if you haven't changed your diet much.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It means blood sugar issues can become more likely, even if you feel like you're eating reasonably well. So balancing insulin becomes absolutely critical for this midlife reset. It's directly tied to weight, mood, energy levels, and your long-term health.
It sounds like these hormones are definitely not working in silos. They're all interconnected, right? Like a conversation where if one shouts, the others react.
Precisely. The material uses that analogy of an intricate network. When one hormone gets out of sync, it creates ripples everywhere. Think about it. Maybe low progesterone leads to poor sleep.
Which spikes cortisol?
Exactly. which encourages belly fat and cravings. Or maybe blood sugar spikes lead to high insulin
Which causes inflammation.
and makes hot flashes worse. Or chronic stress keeps cortisol high, which can then suppress both estrogen and progesterone production, leaving you feeling emotionally raw, exhausted, overwhelmed.
So, yeah, trying to just fix one symptom in isolation, it doesn't really address the root cause because they're all influencing each other. That must be why the material keeps coming back to looking at the whole system, like with the Life Fuel 365 reset idea.
Exactly right. The whole system needs support to find its new balance, not just patching up individual parts. And it's not just age and your internal hormones causing the disruption. This material goes deeper into other factors too. We've mentioned chronic stress and food choices already.
Right, impacting cortisol, blood sugar.
Inflammation, estrogen levels. But it also shines a really bright light on something often overlooked: endocrine disruptors. These are chemicals we encounter constantly in everyday life that can actually mimic or interfere with our natural hormones.
Endocrine disruptors. Okay, that sounds like something that could really mess with that delicate hormonal balance we're trying to navigate. Where are these things found?
They're surprisingly common. The material lists things like BPA, still found in many plastics, the lining of canned foods. Parabens used as preservatives in lots of cosmetics, skincare products. Phthalates often hidden in fragrances, plastics, personal care items.
Fragrances, like perfumes and air fresheners.
Yes, and often just listed as fragrance or perfume in labels.
Oh,
Also, PFAS, those forever chemicals in nonstick cookware, stain-resistant fabrics, pesticides and herbicides on conventionally grown fruits and vegetables. Even synthetic fragrances in laundry detergents.
wow. They really are everywhere.
They are. And the point the material makes is that these chemicals can act like hormonal imposters in your body. They can worsen your perimenopause symptoms and make it harder for your system to recalibrate and find its new equilibrium.
So it's like you're navigating this complex internal hormonal shift, and then you've got these external chemicals adding extra static to the signal.
That's a great way to put it. And it really reinforces the holistic view this material takes. Detoxification isn't just about a juice cleanse, right? It's described as a process involving your mind, your body, and your environment.
Mind, body, environment. Okay.
And perimenopause or menopause is framed as this ideal time for this kind of comprehensive reset. Your body is already in a state of transition, shedding old patterns. Sometimes your mind is too, kind of swirling with old ways of being that just don't fit anymore. It's an opportunity to clear space on all levels.
Okay, let's get practical then. How do we actually do this holistic detox? What steps does the material suggest?
Right, let's break it down. Starting with your environment. The material offers really actionable tips to reduce exposure to those endocrine disruptors. Simple swaps, really, like choosing glass or stainless steel containers for food and water instead of plastic, or at least looking for certified BPA-free if you use plastic.
Okay, ditching the plastic where possible.
Exactly. Switching to fragrance-free or naturally scented personal care products, lotions, soaps, shampoos. Using basic natural cleaning supplies, think vinegar, baking soda, maybe some essential oils, instead of harsh chemical cleaners.
Good old vinegar and baking soda.
They work. Prioritizing organic or local produce when you can to minimize pesticide exposure. Definitely avoiding microwaving food in plastic containers.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It is. And even just opening your windows daily to ventilate your home and improve indoor air quality. It's all about consciously creating a cleaner, less chemically burdensome living space.
That makes sense. Less load on your body's detox systems. Okay, what about the mind? That feels like a huge piece of the puzzle during this time with all the mood shifts and brain fog.
Huge. The material really stresses that detoxing your mind is just as crucial. Perimenopause can definitely bring on racing thoughts, heightened anxiety, maybe bouts of self-doubt, or just feeling stuck in old emotional loops. Mental detox, as described here, is about gently clearing out those old stories and thought patterns, making space for clarity, resilience, peace.
How do you do that?
Well, it suggests practices like mindfulness meditation, just bringing awareness to the present moment without judgment. Journaling is really powerful, getting worries out of your head, exploring beliefs that might be holding you back. Using positive affirmations to consciously shift your self-talk. Instead of, I can't cope, maybe trying, I am capable, or I honor my need for rest.
Gentle shifts.
Exactly. Taking breaks from stressful news or social media, a digital detox can make a big difference. And importantly, seeking support, talking to trusted friends, a therapist, joining a support group. It's okay to not go through this alone. This whole emotional piece is framed as a potential breakthrough, not just a breakdown.
I love that reframe a breakthrough because sometimes it really feels like things are falling apart before they come back together differently. And you mentioned a clean living connection. How does cleaning up the environment and mind connect back to the body's reset?
It's all interconnected. The material explains that by choosing more natural, simple things in your environment and clearing out some mental clutter, you're directly supporting your body's ability to find balance. For instance, using natural skincare, maybe plant oils, aloe vera, gentle cleansers, means fewer chemicals absorbed through your skin.
Right.
Opting for sulfate-free hair care. Choosing clothes made from natural fibers like organo cotton, linen, bamboo when possible. Focusing on whole, unprocessed foods minimizes the artificial stuff your body has to deal with. And drinking filtered water helps avoid chlorine, heavy metals, other contaminants that add stress. It's about reducing the total burden coming in so your body can better manage the changes happening within.
It sounds like a series of small, conscious choices that add up over time. The material's reminder about small changes, big impact feels really key here. You don't have to do a massive life overhaul overnight.
Exactly. Every little swap you make, every moment you take to breathe and calm your mind, it all contributes to a really profound reset.
Okay, speaking of contributing, let's talk about food. The material presents nutrition in a really empowering way for this stage.
It really does. It frames food not just as calories, but as crucial information for your hormones, your brain, your gut, your nervous system. And it argues that midlife is the season when nutrition truly becomes a daily reset tool. It's about deep nourishment, not deprivation.
Not another diet.
Definitely not. The goal is to use food intentionally to help reduce things like hot flashes, calm anxiety, balance blood sugar and cravings, stabilize weight, support your gut, brain, immune system, basically to help you feel like yourself again from the inside out.
Okay, so what kind of food is sending the right kind of information during perimenopause, according to this material?
It outlines specific strategies. For estrogen balance and reducing inflammation, it really highlights cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. They contain compounds that help your liver process estrogen more efficiently.
Good to know.
Also, flax seeds and chia seeds are mentioned as really important. They contain lignans, which gently support hormone balance. Berries and other brightly colored fruits provide antioxidants to fight inflammation. Leafy greens are great for gut health, which also impacts estrogen metabolism. And healthy omega-3 fats from fatty fish like salmon or walnuts, chia, hemp seeds are crucial for calming inflammation and supporting hormone production itself.
So load up on the good stuff. What about things to maybe reduce?
Yes, on the flip side, it suggests intentionally erasing it. Reducing foods that tend to disrupt hormonal balance. This includes things like ultra-processed foods, sugary snacks and drinks, excessive caffeine or alcohol, industrial seed oils like soybean, corn, canola oil, and potentially non-organic meat and dairy, as they might contain hormone residues.
Okay, that makes sense. Reduce the disruptors, increase the supporters. What about how we eat? The material mentioned midlife metabolism changing.
Yes, it notes that as estrogen declines, your cells can become a bit more resistant to insulin. So meal planning becomes more strategic. The material advises aiming for balanced meals. A key focus is getting enough protein, around 20-30 grams per meal is suggested. This helps preserve muscle and keeps blood sugar steady.
Protein is key.
Very key. Pair that with healthy fats, think avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds for hormone production and brain health, and fiber-rich carbs from things like quinoa, lentils, beans, lots of vegetables for sustained energy and gut health. It also stresses rhythmic eating, regular meal times, trying to avoid eating too late at night to keep cortisol and insulin stable. And the gut hormone connection is huge here. Eating fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, kefir, and prebiotic foods like onions, garlic, asparagus, bananas, that nourishes your gut microbiome, which directly influences hormone balance.
It really is a whole ecosystem, gut health impacting hormones. Fascinating.
Huh.
Any other specific plant-based supports mentioned?
Yes, it discusses plant-based support options. Phytoestrogens are plant compounds that can gently mimic estrogen effects. Examples given include flax seeds again, sesame seeds, alfalfa sprouts, chickpeas, and notably, fermented soy products like tempeh, miso, and natto. The material emphasizes that fermented, non-GMO soy eaten in moderation can actually be quite supportive for many women during this transition.
Good to clarify the soy piece.
Yes. And then adaptogens are mentioned, herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, maca, holy basil. These help your body adapt better to stress and regulate cortisol levels. Of course, the material wisely advises checking with a healthcare provider before adding new herbs or supplements, especially if you have underlying health conditions or take medications.
Right. Always good practice. So the overall nutrition message is really about intentional nourishment. Choosing foods that actively support you through this change. It feels less about restriction and more about adding in these powerful, nutrient-dense foods.
Exactly. I love the encouragement in the material. It's about fueling your next chapter with food that loves you back. Start small. Maybe just add a handful of greens to lunch. Sprinkle some flax on your breakfast. Swap a sugary snack for fruit. Try a calming herbal tea in the evening. Each choice is like sending a message to your body. You are worth nourishing. You are still growing. You are not fading. You are rising.
Not fading, you are rising. That's such a powerful reframe. Okay, let's shift to movement because the material seems to challenge that typical no pain, no gain fitness mindset for midlife.
It really does. It pushes back hard against that go hard or go home idea. It suggests your midlife body isn't weaker, it's actually wiser. And it's asking for a different kind of movement strategy. The right kind supports your nervous system, helps stabilize hormones, preserves precious muscle mass, and boosts your mood. But pushing too hard, especially with lots of intense long cardio, can sometimes backfire.
Backfire, how so? What does that mean?
Well, remember how we talked about increased cortisol sensitivity? Long, intense workouts can really spike that stress hormone, and chronically high cortisol, as we know, can disrupt sleep, worsen insulin resistance, making belly fat harder to shift, and actually increase inflammation because recovery takes longer with lower estrogen levels. The material argues your body needs movement that feels replenishing, not depleting.
Replenishing, not depleting. Okay, I like that. What
So,
does replenishing movement look like in practice? What kinds are recommended?
the material highlights three main pillars: strength, flexibility, and stress relief. Strength training is described as non-negotiable, aiming for maybe 2-3 times a week. This is crucial for building and preserving muscle and bone density, both of which tend to decline as estrogen drops.
So important for metabolism and bones.
Absolutely. It also boosts metabolism, helps balance insulin and blood sugar, and even supports cognitive function. You can use your body weight, resistance bands, dumbbells, machines, whatever works for you. Focus on compound movements that work multiple muscle groups: squats, lunges, rows, push-ups, planks. A great tip from the material. Slow down your reps, focus on controlled form. It builds deeper strength and reduces injury risk.
Okay, strength is key. What else?
Then there's mobility and flexibility. This is recommended daily, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. It helps address the stiffness and tight muscles that can creep in. Gentle stretching, foam rolling, maybe some yoga, improves blood flow, prevents injury. It's also really calming for the mind.
Feels good too.
It does. And the third pillar is stress-reducing movement. This is about intentionally soothing your nervous system, lowering that cortisol. Think walking in nature, gentle yoga or tai chi, maybe just dancing around your living room, or using a rebounder. Even 10-20 minutes can make a real difference. The material suggests creating little rituals. Maybe start the day with some gentle stretching, end it with a calm walk, or a few minutes of legs up the wall.
I love the idea of movement rituals. It makes it feel less like a chore and more like self-care. The material even offered a sample weekly rhythm, didn't it?
Yes, it gave an example something like Monday, strength plus a walk; Tuesday, stretching or yoga; Wednesday, strength plus some focused breathing; Thursday, nature walk and maybe journaling; Friday, something flowing like dance or Pilates; Saturday, another strength session or active rest; Sunday, full rest day with maybe some gentle mobility. But it stresses this is just a sample rhythm to adapt. It's not a rigid rule book.
Right, listen to your body.
Exactly. Tune in, allow rest when you need it, find ways to move that actually bring you joy. Midlife movement, as framed here, is about celebrating your body, reclaiming strength on your own terms, redefining fitness, and honoring the wisdom your body holds now.
Celebrating your body, honoring its wisdom. That's a beautiful way to approach it. Okay, let's move to another absolutely foundational piece, especially highlighted for this time: sleep. The material calls it the body's nightly reset button.
It does. And it's just vital for everything: hormone repair, mental clarity, energy levels, mood regulation. It fully acknowledges that for so many women during perimenopause and menopause, sleep becomes, well, elusive,
Yeah.
fragmented, restless. It's validating to hear the material state clearly. This is often a biological shift tied to hormones, not a personal failing. And the good news is it emphasizes that sleep can be improved and restored.
Okay, that's hopeful. Why exactly does sleep get so disrupted during this time, based on this information?
The material details several key reasons, mostly rooted in those hormonal shifts. Remember, estrogen and progesterone declining. Both of those hormones actually help promote deep, restful sleep. Progesterone is calming, Estrogen helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle, so as they fluctuate and drop, sleep quality often takes a hit.
Right. Less calming, less regulation.
Exactly. Then, of course, there are the infamous hot flashes and night sweats. Those sudden surges of heat can literally jolt you awake, breaking your sleep cycles repeatedly through the night.
Ugh, yes. Very disruptive.
And cortisol imbalance is another huge factor. If your stress hormones are high, especially in the evening, it keeps your mind and body in an alert state, making it hard to fall asleep or stay asleep. The material describes this vicious cycle. You wake up unexpectedly, maybe from a hot flash, your body perceives stress, cortisol spikes.
Which makes it harder to fall back asleep.
Precisely, because high cortisol suppresses melatonin, your main sleep hormone. And to top it off, melatonin production itself can sometimes naturally decline a bit with age and these hormonal shifts, making your internal clock feel less synchronized.
Wow. It really does sound like a perfect storm for disrupted sleep. So if all this is going on, how does the material suggest we can start to reclaim restful sleep?
The key strategy emphasized is building a consistent, calming, almost sacred evening routine. It's about intentionally signaling to your nervous system that it's time to shift gears from doing to resting. Working with your body's natural rhythms, not fighting against them. It outlines several practical steps for creating this nourishing routine. First, a dedicated wind-down period at least an hour before you actually want to be asleep. This means turning off bright overhead lights, dimming lamps, definitely getting off stimulating screens, phones, tablets, computers, or using strong blue light filters if you must be on them. Avoid work emails, stressful news, or intense conversations during this time.
Create a buffer zone.
Exactly. Then, incorporate soothing rituals to lower cortisol. This could be sipping calming herbal teas like chamomile, lemon balm, passion flower, or valerian root. Taking a warm bath, maybe with Epsom salts for magnesium, and a few drops of lavender essential oil is incredibly effective for many. Gentle yoga or stretching, focusing on deep breathing, also helps release tension.
Calming rituals sound lovely.
They really set the stage. Third, include mindful practices to quiet the mind. If your thoughts race, try journaling, get worries out onto paper, or maybe list a few things you're grateful for. Guided meditation or simple breathwork exercises can work wonders. Even just reading a physical book, something calming or uplifting, helps shift focus away from screens and stress. Fourth, optimize your sleep environment. This is crucial, especially with night sweats. Keep your bedroom cool. The material suggests ideally between 60-67 degrees Fahrenheit or 15-19 Celsius. Use breathable bedding like cotton, linen, or bamboo. Make the room as dark as possible, blackout curtains, maybe an eye mask, and minimize noise, perhaps using earplugs or a white noise machine or app.
Cool, dark, quiet. The sleep cave essentials.
Pretty much. And finally, perhaps the most impactful long-term strategy. Strive for consistent sleep-wake times. Going to bed and waking up around the same time every day, yes, even on weekends, helps regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, which powerfully influences hormone balance and sleep quality.
That consistency piece feels really fundamental for resetting the body's clock. And I appreciate that the material also acknowledges that even with the best routine, some nights will still be tough.
Absolutely. It offers a gentle reminder that some nights are harder, and that's okay. Instead of lying there fighting sleeplessness and getting frustrated, which just amps up cortisol.
Right, it makes it worse.
Exactly. It suggests honoring your body's rhythm on those nights. If you're wide awake, maybe get up for a short period, do something relaxing in dim light like reading or gentle stretching, then try going back to bed. Or stay in bed but practice deep breathing or a body scan meditation. Keep a notepad nearby to jot down persistent thoughts. And remember, even just resting quietly in bed, even if you don't fall back asleep immediately, is still restorative for your body.
That gentle, compassionate approach feels so much healthier than battling insomnia. It sounds like prioritizing sleep is less about forcing it and more about creating the optimal, inviting conditions for it to naturally happen.
That's exactly the message. Midlife sleep challenges are incredibly common, but the material stresses, they don't have to be permanent. Creating these consistent rituals, optimizing your environment, managing stress, it all builds a foundation that supports hormonal balance, boosts your resilience, and ultimately restores your vitality. As the material so beautifully puts it, sleep isn't a luxury during this phase. It's truly a vital act of self-love.
A vital act of self-love. Wow, that really reframes it, doesn't it? You mentioned earlier that this whole transition is like a total system reboot involving body, mind, and soul. Let's dive into that deeper emotional and spiritual shift that the material explores.
Yes, this is where the perspective really broadens behind just the physical symptoms. It frames midlife, particularly perimenopause and menopause, as this potentially profound total system reboot that absolutely encompasses your emotional and spiritual self. It acknowledges that, yes, hormones are shifting dramatically, but it's often also a time when buried emotions tend to surface. Old beliefs or identities suddenly feel constricting or untrue, and your whole nervous system just feels more sensitive, more attuned. It describes it as a time when your heart, your inner self, might be quietly whispering or maybe even shouting, okay, it's time to evolve. And these shifts, this sensitivity, aren't portrayed as weakness, but rather as sacred signals.
Sacred signals. I like that phrase. It gives a sense of meaning or purpose to what can feel like uncomfortable chaos. Why do mental health and emotional states often feel so intense during this transition, according to this information?
It ties directly back to the biology. Those hormones directly impact brain chemistry and emotional regulation pathways. Estrogen, for instance, influences serotonin levels, which are key for mood stability, sleep, and feelings of well-being. As estrogen does its erratic dance, your mood is likely to fluctuate too. You might find yourself more tearful, experiencing sudden anxiety, feeling emotionally raw or reactive.
Right. The hormonal roller coaster affects the brain, too.
Directly. And that earlier drop in progesterone, the calming hormone, can contribute to racing thoughts, irritability, and disrupted sleep, all of which significantly impact your emotional baseline. Plus, as we discussed, that increased sensitivity to cortisol means stress hits harder, amplifying feelings of anxiety, overwhelm, or mood instability. The material describes this whole process as a kind of biochemical recalibration. Your brain is literally rewiring itself for this next phase of life. It's crucial to understand it's not about losing your mind. It's a physiological process intensified by this major life transition.
That is incredibly validating to hear biochemical recalibration, because it can absolutely feel like you're losing it sometimes, with the sudden anxiety spikes, the brain fog making it hard to concentrate, maybe a dip in confidence or feeling off without quite knowing why.
Absolutely. And the material underscores that these experiences aren't a personal failing. It calls it the intersection of hormonal reality and cultural silence. We simply haven't been adequately prepared or taught what to expect emotionally during this powerful passage. And these hormonal shifts, it suggests, often act like tremors that reveal cracks in the foundation. They can bring long-ignored stress, unresolved grief, or those postponed dreams and desires bubbling right up to the surface. It's presented as this potent invitation to reclaim yourself, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too.
An invitation to reclaim yourself.
Yes. And it's emotional unraveling that can happen. It's reframed not as a breakdown, but as a potential breakthrough. A necessary shedding of old skins, old identities, old habits, old stories you've told yourself that simply no longer serve the woman you were becoming. The material encourages asking some deep reflective questions during this time, like, what am I truly feeling beneath the surface noise? Where in my life am I still pretending or playing small? What parts of my life, what roles or beliefs have I genuinely outgrown? And, importantly, what do I deeply desire for myself next?
Asking those deep questions, that takes real courage, especially when you might already be feeling vulnerable or uncertain. What are some practical ways the material suggests to actually embrace this emotional reset rather than just resist it?
It offers several really helpful approaches. First, learning to simply name what you're feeling without judgment. Acknowledging that all feelings, anger, sadness, fear, confusion, joy, are valid signals. Suppressing them just tends to create more internal stress and can even worsen physical symptoms. Second, actively making space for reflection. This could be through carving out moments of solitude, consistent journaling, meditation, or spending quiet time in nature. It's about turning down the external volume so you can hear your own inner wisdom. Exactly. Third, it suggests reframing anxiety. Instead of immediately seeing it as a problem to be eliminated, consider viewing it as potent energy trying to move. Maybe it's signaling new ideas bubbling up or unmet needs demanding attention. Midlife anxiety, it posits, often serves to wake you up to things you've been ignoring or tolerating. Fourth, consciously strengthening your nervous system's resilience through those daily grounding rituals we talked about: breathing, stretching, calming teas, warm baths. These practices help you feel safer and more centered amidst the internal shifts. And finally, practicing the art of letting go to grow. Realizing you don't have to hold everything together perfectly for everyone else anymore. The focus shifts to holding yourself with compassion. This might mean intentionally releasing patterns like people-pleasing, perfectionism, or the relentless drive for productivity, choosing wholeness over perceived perfection.
Letting go to grow. Choosing wholeness. That resonates. And the material takes us even further, linking midlife to a spiritual awakening.
Yes, and this is a particularly inspiring part. It highlights how many ancient wisdom traditions and cultures actually revered menopause not as an ending, but as a sacred threshold, a time for ceremony, for deep inner transformation. In many societies, women moving through this phase stepped into roles as keepers of wisdom, respected elders, leaders celebrated for their accumulated experience and insight. This perspective recognizes the inherent power embedded within this life passage.
Wow. That is such a radically different view from the often negative or dismissive narrative we hear in modern Western culture, which tends to focus on loss or decline. It reframes it as gaining something incredibly profound.
Precisely. And the material encourages women today to consciously reclaim that sacred role. Your lived experience, your resilience forged through challenges, the insights you've gained, these are invaluable gifts. This transition, it suggests, equips you to potentially heal not only yourself, but also to contribute uniquely to your family, your community, the world. By stepping into and embracing your authentic power, you can become a beacon of nurturing strength, called to lead from a place of deep compassion and hard-won wisdom.
Leading from compassion and wisdom.
And it talks about transforming fear into fierce wisdom. It's not about pretending fear doesn't exist, but acknowledging it without judgment, seeing it as a teacher. It's about consciously transforming anxiety into intentional action, setting clear boundaries, defining your intentions for this next chapter. It's about cultivating courage by connecting more deeply with your own inner knowing through practices like meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, or personal ritual. Seen this way, your fears actually become the fuel for transformation. They forge that fierce wisdom that ultimately empowers and liberates you. The material even offers a beautiful suggestion for a spiritual awakening practice, creating your own personal rite of passage to mark this transition. This could be something simple like lighting a candle with intention, gathering objects that symbolize your journey so far, writing a letter to your younger self acknowledging her journey, setting a clear intention for this new chapter, or sharing a commitment to yourself with a trusted friend or mentor.
Creating your own ceremony.
Yes. The core message here is that midlife, encompassing perimenopause and beyond, is absolutely not an endpoint. It holds the potential to be a profound spiritual awakening, a sacred journey forward into a new way of being. You are not the woman you once were, and according to this material, that is something truly powerful and worth celebrating.
Celebrating becoming something new. I really love that perspective. So we've covered a lot of ground, understanding the phase, the hormones, the hidden disruptors, the practical steps for nurturing body, mind, and environment, reclaiming sleep, and embracing this deeper emotional and spiritual layer. How do we bring all these incredibly valuable pieces together into something truly actionable and sustainable?
This is where the material guides you towards crafting your own personalized reset plan. It circles back to that core idea. Midlife is this potent invitation to reset, refresh, and consciously reclaim your life with intention and, importantly, with kindness towards yourself. But the crucial point it emphasizes again and again is that there is absolutely no single right way or one-size-fits-all plan. Your body, your mind, your spirit are unique, and they are calling for a rhythm that is tailored specifically to you.
Tailored to you. Okay.
So the steps outlined for building this personalized wellness rhythm are very practical and empowering. First, and perhaps most importantly, listen deeply to your body. Start paying closer attention than ever before. Notice your energy patterns throughout the day and month. Track symptoms, not just physical ones like hot flashes, but also shifts in mood, sleep quality, cravings. Pay attention to your emotional landscape, what triggers you, what soothes you. Your body holds immense wisdom if you learn to tune in.
Become your own best expert.
Exactly. Second, set realistic, joyful goals. Choose habits and practices that genuinely feel nourishing and supportive to you, not like another list of obligations or things you should do. Focus on small, sustainable wins. Maybe it's adding just one hormone-supportive food each day or committing to a 10-minute wind-down routine before bed. Small steps add up. Third, create daily rituals. Weaving simple, supportive practices into your day makes them stick. This could be a morning ritual for mindfulness, gentle movement, or gratitude. Building those balanced meals and remembering hydration. Establishing those consistent evening routines for rest and detoxification that we discussed. Rituals provide structure and anchor you. Fourth, learn to adapt with grace. Your needs will absolutely change day to day, week to week, even hour to hour sometimes during this phase. Embrace flexibility. Honor the days when your body is clearly asking for more rest and allow yourself that without guilt. Celebrate the days when you feel more energized and use that energy wisely. It's a dance.
That flexibility piece feels crucial because life happens, and trying to stick rigidly to a plan when you're feeling depleted can just add more stress. How does the material suggest tracking progress without it becoming another source of pressure or judgment?
It frames tracking very gently and holistically. It's positioned as a tool for self-discovery, helping you understand what truly supports you best, not as a test you can pass or fail. You might use a simple journal, a planner, or an app if you like. Note things like your energy levels, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, your mood, sleep quality, how specific symptoms are changing, frequency, intensity. The key is to celebrate any small improvement, any positive shift, and critically, avoid judgment if you have an off day or week. Each day truly is a new opportunity to show up for yourself with kindness. It suggests maybe taking time once a month to reflect on patterns you're noticing and gently adjust your approach based on what your tracking tells you.
Tracking as a tool for insight, not judgment. I like that.
And finally, it emphasizes the importance of staying consistent, but doing so with compassion. Consistency is definitely key for resetting hormones and building new habits, but that doesn't mean demanding perfection or beating yourself up when life interferes. Be patient with yourself. Real, lasting change unfolds over weeks and months, not overnight. Practice self-compassion relentlessly, especially when you stumble or routines get disrupted. Use positive self-talk and affirmations to support yourself. And please remember, as the material strongly advises, that your journey through this transition is uniquely yours. Comparing yourself to others truly does steal your joy and undermines your progress. There's a Life Fuel 365 reset affirmation included in the material that beautifully captures this whole spirit. It goes, I honor my body's wisdom and rhythms. I choose habits that nourish me daily. I progress with patience, kindness, and resilience. Each step is a celebration of my strength and growth.
That's a wonderful affirmation, a true guiding principle. So, this personalized plan isn't just about following steps, it's about co creating with your own body and wisdom, crafting your own personalized guide, a roadmap tailored to your life, designed for truly thriving through this powerful transition, not just white knuckling your way through it. We have covered so much rich ground today. We've really explored how perimenopause is this undeniable, complex transition driven by those fluctuating hormones that impact not just our physical bodies, but deeply affect our minds and emotions too. We've seen how factors beyond just age, like chronic stress, our food choices, even those hidden environmental toxins, significantly influence our experience. And most importantly, guided by all this fantastic material, we've uncovered so many practical, holistic, and often gentle strategies, ways to support your body with intentional food and movement, methods for detoxing your environment and clearing mental clutter, the crucial importance of prioritizing sleep as that vital act of self-love, and
Yes.
importantly, how to embrace the profound emotional and spiritual growth that this entire phase genuinely invites.
It's a huge opportunity.
It really is. And the core message woven through everything we've discussed feels so clear, so empowering. This transition is not about fading away. It is absolutely about becoming, about resetting your system, about powerfully reclaiming your vitality, your authentic voice, your energy, and your joy for the chapter ahead.
And what this material really underscores, I think, is that knowledge truly becomes power when it's not just passively received, but actively understood and applied. By genuinely listening to your body's innate wisdom, and by implementing even small, consistent steps drawn from these kinds of insights, you are consciously, actively participating in your own incredible metamorphosis.
Your own metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Which perhaps leaves us, and you listening, with this final thought to ponder. Based on the material's perspective of midlife as this potential sacred awakening, this time where you might be called to step more fully into your inherent role as guide, healer, and leader in your own life and perhaps beyond, how might seeing your own personal transformation through that kind of empowering lens fundamentally shift your daily relationship with yourself and maybe even with the world around you? How can embracing this sacred passage truly unlock your own unique, fierce wisdom?